and welcome to this installment of Frank and Mary here in Southborough. If you haven't seen this show before, my name is Art Bergeron. I'm an elder law attorney. My day job, I work at Myrick O'Connell. We're up the street in Westborough, but this is not about my day job. It's about my friends Frank and Mary. If you've been to my presentations at the Southborough Senior Center, you know that Frank and Mary and their kids, Peter, Paul, and Mary Jr., grew up in Southborough, and Frank and Mary's goal in life is to live in their house until they die and be buried in the backyard. And if that's Southborough, that means they want to stay right here. And so my wonderful co-host, Doug Peck, who has lived in Southborough for a long time and seems to know everybody, agreed to be co-host and to help me find great guests for this show who can help you figure out what you need to know and the people and the programs in order to stay right where you are. Now, kindly, during these COVID times, our friend Pam LaFrancis from the Southborough Senior Center has agreed to provide updates as part of our show on kind of what's going on at the Senior Center, just kind of a short sense of what's going on, what is new, what's open, what's not. And Pam, you've been kind enough to join us again, and thank you. And then, you know, once you've talked about the Senior Center, you know, if you want, you can step off, and then we'll talk to our guest, Joe Quirk. Pam.
Arthur, good morning. Good morning, Doug. Good morning, Joe. Thank you for the time to have about 2 minutes to give you an update on what's happening at the Senior Center. I just would like to remind people that the open enrollment for Shine is still going on. We still have appointments available in November. Open enrollment will go until, I believe, December 7th. So give us a call if you'd like to make an appointment with Carolyn. The other thing I'd like to remind you of is fuel assistance is open, and we have applications. If you need any information on fuel assistance, please call the Senior Center and speak to Cindy Beard. What's going on at the Senior Center for fun stuff? Well, I don't know if you'd call this fun stuff, but we have a shred day coming up in the back of the Senior Center on October 24th. So if you have any papers that you'd like shredded, it's free. No appointments necessary, just come on back. We are doing a number of cable shows. We are doing a couple of Zoom programs, and we are doing a number of drive-through programs. This month we have Early Trails and Roads, which is a historic look at Massachusetts on cable. I know it's run multiple times, so thank you for cable running those for us. The other program we have is called Bay State Phantoms in honor of Halloween. It's kind of mystery things that have happened in Massachusetts. So if you are watching those cable shows, which we hope you check them out, please give us a call and let us know what you think. We'd really appreciate the feedback about what you're looking for as far as cable shows and what we can do for you. We have 2 fitness programs that are running on Zoom. There's a stretch class, and there's also a chair yoga class. And those are Zoom programs. The other things that are happening at the Senior Center are we have a couple of drive-throughs coming up. One is on Thursday. It's a breakfast drive-through, and it features apples. So you have apple scones, apples, little goodie bag with all kinds of things that are apple, and that is at 10 o'clock this Thursday. There are still some spots available if you're interested. The next drive-through program we have is on Halloween. The next few months, we've got a lot of plans in the works as far as holiday drive-throughs. We have a Veterans Day drive-through. We're going to have a holiday drive-through. Those will feature some nice dinners. We've got a lot of stuff planned coming up on cable and Zoom for you. So if you have any questions, or if you need any kind of services, or if you know anybody that could use a phone call or a friendly check-in, please give us a call. We'd really appreciate it. And thank you for your time.
And that's a great summary. And I just want to add, Carolyn McLeod, your Shine counselor, whom Doug introduced me to, and we had her on the show last year, is the greatest Shine counselor I've ever met. I'm doing actually my monthly seminar for this month that I'm doing, you know, for Southborough that I'm sending out. is about Medicare, and she's my consultant. She's one of my 2 consultants on this because she just knows everything. So you're very lucky in Southborough to have this just barrel of information. So
We're incredibly fortunate to have, and she's a volunteer. I tell her all the time, we're going to double her pay because she's doing such a great job. And we really, really appreciate everything she's done for us.
she's just terrific. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it, Pam.
Okay.
And we'll see you next month. We'll see you
Thank you
next
so much.
And
Have a good day.
and so Doug, whom do we have here today?
Well, we have a returning guest, Joe Quirk, who is the executive director at BayPath Elder Services. I was going to say the new executive director, but he's not so new anymore. He's pretty settled in, and he's done some really good things for BayPath. But I just want him to go over again and let people know the fact that they are really open and doing business, and what business is that they are doing. They're doing it a little bit differently than the pre-COVID days, but I just want to go over, what overall BayPath is. It's called an ASAP, and what that really means, and what just a general overview of the services available, particularly the homemaking services as well, and the Meals on Wheels, because those are, for me, 2 very important services that people really need to know about. If they're not taking advantage of, they should be. And it's much easier to contact them now, and I'll let him talk about that as well. So, Joe.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me back. Yes, I'm the veteran executive director at BayPath for 5 months. So yes, it's going great. I get to work a lot with Doug. So yes, BayPath is open for business. And I think we've been providing services to people in the community throughout the pandemic and continue to do so. I'll just talk a little bit about what we are first. BayPath is one of a number of aging services access points in Massachusetts. And this was a system that was really put together in the late 90s, and it's designed to be one-stop shopping for older adults for whatever they need. So whether it's referral to other services, finding an elder law attorney like Arthur, getting in-home services, help with housing or mass health applications, you name it, we can help you with it. And so sort of regardless of what you are looking for as an older adult, you can call us, you can speak to our information referral department. These are just people that will talk to you on the phone about what your needs and interests are and help you with all kinds of referrals.
And how much do you charge for that, Joe?
Nothing. Our services, that's right.
Unbelievable. Their people's tax dollars at work. You are their tax dollars at work.
That's right. It costs 0, and we are going to double our fee to us. So we'd love to hear from you. I think it's a really good idea. We talked about this the last time I was on the show, to sort of get to know what's out there for people. Even if you don't need it today, it's helpful to find out what kind of service is available, because someday you might need them. And a lot of times people wait to call us until they're in a crisis, which can happen quickly. But so by all means, call us. So we are conducting business differently, with the pandemic right now, as Doug mentioned. We do basically all of our contact with people's over the telephone. And so when you call up to talk to us, it's by phone. If you're looking for in-home services, one of our special intake people will call you back on the phone. In normal times, we'd come out and see you in person, get to know you, talk to you. But now, because of this, we're doing all that on the telephone. So in addition, I think it's good to know, because people are concerned, that we have a lot of contact-free services that we can provide to people. So Doug mentioned Meals on Wheels. We are doing deliveries 3 days a week, I think Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we deliver at least 5 meals for people over those days. But that's a service you can get where we can just come to your home, drop the meal, and so there's no possibility of transmitting the virus there. We also provide laundry and grocery shopping services, 2 more no-contact services. But the other thing is, I think it's good to understand. So, and for those kind of services, I'll say, those are provided either free or on a sliding fee scale, depending upon people's income. And we're happy to work with you around that. We are a nonprofit organization, I should say too. So we operate programs that are state and federally funded. So we're not getting profits on those. So one of the things that we can also offer too, so again, because a lot of people might be getting help from family caregivers right now or relatives or friends who are helping them out, we actually have a program where we can reimburse those caregivers for at least some of the time that they're providing help to you. And so that's a way to, support those caregivers and not necessarily have to have agency workers coming into your home. A lot of people might want to take advantage of that right now.
What's that service called, Joe?
We call it consumer-directed care because
Okay.
the model is that the consumer becomes the employer of record. And so we kind of help the person understand what that means and what their responsibilities are. But ultimately, they'll be signing their, timesheets and sending them in to an organization that will send out the paychecks to that person.
Joe,
And that's
I know that.
that's a big deal. I'm sorry, Arthur.
No, you go ahead.
I said that's a big deal for a lot of people because there's a lot that do use family support for that, and to have some kind of reimbursement for that time is really, really valuable for people. It keeps them in their home, basically.
Absolutely. Arthur, did you want to ask?
No, I was just going to ask about could you talk about any particular qualification criteria for that program? Because that sounds like it really is a wonderful thing.
So the eligibility is that they have to be eligible for one of our home care programs. So that just means that they have a number of daily tasks that they need help with. Details of it are, a little confusing, but basically people need help with daily tasks like homemaking and grocery shopping and laundry or bathing and dressing and things like that.
That's great because I guess every time you learn something new every day. I was under the impression that kind of program was really only available to people who had a lot of problems and who were getting funding therefore through Mass Health or the Frail Elder Waiver. But it's great that's available for a broader constituency because that's so commonly that's people's situation.
Well, exactly. I think the Mass Health program is still there. And for those who qualify, it's a great option. We don't provide as robust a benefit in the home care program, but it's an option for people who qualify for home care, but not Mass Health. We also have an adult family care program in which the family caregivers are paid a daily stipend for the care they're providing to someone who's living in the home with them. And so that's something we can also talk to people about. That is a Mass Health program, and so people would have to qualify for Mass Health. But lots of people are taking advantage of the consumer-directed care program right now. The other thing I'll say is that, at this time, we know that family caregivers who do so much for people year in, year out, they're maybe getting asked to do a little more lately than they are in normal circumstances. We do have a family caregiver support program, and we encourage family, caregivers to call us up and talk to our specialists. They can help them sort of understand what their needs are, help them sometimes, with caregiver stress. Possibly, we can provide respite services through that program. And so variety of ways that we can help support caregivers to do what they're trying to do, which is help that other person in their life. So the other thing I just want to mention too is that, I think that, I think with the pandemic, we've seen certainly in a very dramatic way some of the shortcomings of the nursing facility model of care. And I want to point out to people that the incidence of COVID-19 infection or serious consequences has been much lower with home care services than nursing facilities. I think 10% of the nursing facility population tragically passed away as a result of the pandemic. We have seen nothing near that in the state's home care program. So even when people are getting in-home services from aides, the aides are testing, they're checking their health every day. They are reporting that they're healthy and that they have not been exposed. They are wearing appropriate attire. They're wearing masks and gloves and whatever else they need and using proper hand washing techniques. And so we've had people who continue to get services throughout the pandemic from in-home aides, and the vast majority of them, there's been no COVID-19 infections with that group. So I think, I certainly respect people's decision not to want to have aides come in. And so then can work with them to figure out what we can do without having that happen. But for those who need aides to come in, so for people who need help bathing, for example, someone has to come in the house to help with that. We work very closely with our providers to make sure that that is provided in a safe way and that both the consumer and the aides stay healthy.
Yeah, I think that's really important for people to know because people are nervous about having them come into their homes. But the fact that now you've been doing this since, since the beginning of the year, but certainly since March, with very, very low incidence of anything happening, shows you the kind of, care that you folks have been taking. And people should feel, I think, comfortable now that they're getting somebody coming in who knows what they're doing, really follows the guidelines, because they want to be careful themselves. This is their livelihood. And it's very important, though, that people don't put off the help to get help bathing, et cetera, if they need it.
Absolutely.
And that they don't think that they're just between this rock and a hard place, that, their only alternative is to keep struggling along at home by themselves until they burn out or drop dead,
Mhm.
or to send someone to a nursing home. Because that statistic that you gave, Joe, is just an incredible statistic. I mean, it's just, it's tragic, and I'm sure some of it, was preventable, and that's why people are adjusting to the future for that. But it's just, it's scary to so many people, and they're trying desperately to avoid, or they have been, to avoid that nursing home alternative, right? But often not knowing the available other alternatives. Could you, just as a curiosity, because I think that your basic message is everybody should have called you. Everybody who is, I want to say, I know you take people, younger than that, but certainly everybody who is 70 and older, for example. I am 70. I should call you, right? And so for all
a little bit about us.
I'm just a young guy, but someday he too. But for me and for my friends Frank and Mary. So to give us do you have a sense, just do you know what percentage of the people in your catchment area or in your communities, because you've got like 14 communities? Yeah.
Yes.
What percentage of seniors have actually reached out to you? Because everybody should, of these kinds of really older seniors,
I'm not sure just our area, but I think statewide,
Yeah.
for the home care program, at
Yeah.
least another 70,000 elders out there would qualify and need our services and don't know that we're here.
And
So we could probably double. So we serve, a little over 1,200 people in the home care program. But I'd say, there must be thousands more out there who don't know about us. And I think that it's interesting because I encounter all the time people who I tell them what I do, and I tell them about our agency, and they just had no idea that these services were out there. And they tell me about an uncle or a grandparent or a parent or someone in their life. And I think we always say to each other, this is the best kept secret. I don't know how to get the word out there. And I think that, our councils on aging, our partners like Pam, they're great at making referrals to us, but so many people don't connect to the Council on Aging or to a VNA or to different organizations that refer to us. And so it's sort of like, how do you find those people and let them know we're here? Because you're right, Arthur, we have one purpose for existing, and that's to help people live in the community like Frank and Mary. That is why we're here. And I think it's our sole mission is to help people stay in the community for as long as they want. So I really, I hope everybody, even if you don't need us to stay, maybe you have a friend who does, and you can let them know about us too.
But I think the second piece that, I'm sorry, Doug, I'm just going to mention this, but the second piece of what you're talking about is that whole notion of don't wait to call them till you need them, and don't necessarily be the decider of whether something could be helpful before you talk to them, because so many of us, we're just tempted to, it's Aunt so-and-so, and we're all chipping in and we're taking it, and that's great. But it may be that those things that you're doing for Aunt so-and-so or for your mother or for your spouse are things that you're not going to get displaced by BayPath, right?
Mhm.
But BayPath can make it possible for you to do these things without going crazy. Like you were just talking about those supportive, just the caregiver support services to help you, kind of live your day doing these really tough things.
Mhm.
All right, that's
Absolutely.
And people should know that Massachusetts has to rank up near the very top of services that they provide, like BayPath, for free to the elderly of any state in the country. We have such a wealth of services here. you know, it's better than in New York, in New Jersey, than any of these other surrounding states. It's just phenomenal how much we are able to do. And the reason you want to call again early is that there are so many services to take advantage of. You need to spend some time and learn what the programs are and what can help you. And they can help you figure that out. That's what their specialists are there for, is to say, what's your situation? Here are the ones that can probably, you know, you can take advantage of now or in the near future. So it's not, you don't have to make that decision. We have specialists at BayPath that can help you make that decision.
And by the way,
a lot of times too, people, you know, sort of self-select out, oh, I'm sure I won't qualify for
Right.
this reason or that reason. Call us and talk to us and find out. Maybe you won't qualify, but there may be some other things that we can offer you, and maybe you do qualify. I
Mhm.
think you're right too. What's true in many, many states is that the only services that they provide are for people who qualify for Medicaid.
Mhm.
And in Massachusetts, we have a state-funded program that's generally funded by the legislature every year. So there are lots of services we can provide to people who don't have Medicaid because, you know, their income's too high or they have savings that disqualify them. So yes, absolutely call and find out what we have to offer.
And just on the flip side, I know one of the things that you and I know that Doug has talked about has been the fact that you really there are services that are provided by volunteers in some case, right? So if I'm that senior and I'm feeling like, you know, I think I really want to give back, I should be part of, you know, I kind of owe it to the system. And I always tell seniors when they're younger, you owe it to the system. You owe it to the system. You're hoping as you get older and more frail that people will be there, but we're the people who need to be there, right? So if there is an opportunity, are there opportunities to volunteer or to help with any of these things you do?
Absolutely. Our Meals on Wheels program is mostly operated by volunteers. We also have a money management program, which is a great program that helps people who are having difficulty managing their checkbook and paying their bills. We have volunteers who are, you know, very well screened, and they are trained to come out and help people do that. And so we're always looking for volunteers for that as well. So a variety of opportunities for volunteers, definitely.
Mhm. Good.
That's terrific. Now, Doug, are you the chairman of are you the chairman of the board at this point?
No, I'm not. I do sit on the board, on two of the boards, but I'm not the chairman of the board.
But you've been involved for a long time too, because I
Yeah.
think that's a big piece of the volunteer effort is that the board it's a nonprofit. You know,
It
you've got
is.
people from your community that are connected. This isn't a faraway agency, right?
Right. Right, and we're going to be looking for more board members. We're going to be talking about that as we go forward and get more people from the community involved. So they can help they can understand what's going on and spread the word and bring. Well, you know, we need to stay in touch with our consumers just like any business does, and really understand what it is that they need that we may not be providing because we evolve and we change. You know, as the climate changes, just like we adapted to the COVID situation, and I think it's made the whole institution a lot better, and we're able to work a lot smarter now because you have to.
Because you have
You know?
to. So Joe, can you provide us with I didn't mean to be cutting you off. I just wanted to make sure that at the end that we ask you for a phone number or a contact information. Because with, you know, the folks here at Southborough Cable are great about this. You know, they'll show that.
Yeah.
There'll be a bar on the screen kind of throughout the show, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely. So just want to mention, we do have a volunteer board with people like Doug. At least half of our board, more than half our board has to be at the age of 60 or older. And it's a community-based organization. So we have representation from all 14 cities and towns that we work in. And it's really a community-run organization. And that's what was designed to be. And that's what it is. But absolutely, 508-573-7200. Don't forget that phone number. So BayPath Elder Services.
We'll have that blinking. We'll have that
Exactly.
blinking.
Yes.
How that
during
blinking out
the-
there.
I think Doug sort of referred to this at the beginning. You know, the pandemic forced us to update our phone system. We have many people who are working remote, working from home during this time. We now have a phone system that we can answer calls no matter where we are. So it's much easier to get in touch with us and for us to get in touch with you. And
Yeah.
we hope everyone takes advantage of that.
Good.
Great. Well, thank you very, very much, Joe. You
Thanks,
know, and
Joe.
Doug, thanks. This was a great idea to bring Joe back. right? Now that he's a veteran, you know, when we saw him, he was still kind of wet behind the ears, you know.
Yeah.
Now he's in his.
People
now
have
he's in
settled
institution.
in. People
He's
have settled
settled.
into the COVID. They need to know that, hey, things have changed for them, you know,
That's
so
right.
they need to maybe thinking about BayPath.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much for having me. I always want to talk about what we do and reach out to people and, you know, that provide whatever they need. So
Good.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joe. Doug, thank you very much, as usual, for finding these great folks that are going to talk to us. Folks, once again, you ought to take advantage of this service. It is amazing the services they provide. Don't assume that, you know, that you don't need anything and therefore you shouldn't come. Just, you know, you've got some time on your hands. Do this, right? So thank you very much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next installment of Frank and Mary here in Southborough. Thank you.
Bye.